take you to a journey called SP Jain. Frankly, when I was a youngster and when Akshay was giving CAT, our whole soul world revolved around IAMS and IAMS, and we forgot there's another world of B schools who have faculty to the tune of IAMS, who have the placements comparable to IAMS and probably better as the number of students are less. They have the locational advantages because they are in the prime cities. They have the heritage because they have been there for a very long time. And last but not the least, a good number of students join there because they have faculty which comes from sectors. They come from industrial sectors. So FMS, XLRI, SP Jain, NEETI are all there. But today, the first calls which have come from SP Jain, which is profile driven. In fact, I like to tell you all over the world, they always like to give you profile driven interview calls. The people who have the profile, they tend to do very well. And that is why SP Jain has chosen you. You are the rightful people who have given their inclination for SP Jain, who have the right intent, and I'm sure that SP Jain can bridge the gap for you, between you and your goal. It has got everything going. It has a lovely campus. It has got lovely faculty. It has got all the programs. In fact, frankly, I like to say about SP Jain, I suggest my students, if you cannot get through ABC, then you cannot get through investment banking from other B schools. But from SP Jain, you can be there in the investment banking too. Frankly, SP Jain is a wonderful place. What all is SP Jain all about? Now I will request Akshay, who's an alumnus, and what is SP Jain all about, to talk to you. So Akshay, now you
Yes,
can take it.
So, hi everyone. First and foremost, I am yet not an alumnus. I'm still studying here. I'm 2013-15 batch. I just completed. I'm still almost about to finish my first year over here. So, few things about SP Jain I will tell you. Yes, there are certain advantages it has over other B schools. It's located, first its location. It's located in the heart of Bombay. So all the head offices of major companies are very close to us. In fact, the HUL head office is like right next door. Second thing is, one thing that distinguishes SP Jain from rest of the B schools is the fact that it asks you to choose your specialization before you join MBA. Unlike other B schools where you go through the entire first year and then you probably pick and choose your electives according to your tastes and preferences. One main reason to do that is SP Jain, while it picks its students, it wants to be extremely sure from its students. You guys should be very clear in your head as to why you are doing your MBA, why you have picked up a marketing or a finance or an information management or an operations profile. And that is how your entire the interview process will also be driven on that basis. And hence, a lot of emphasis on the profile. We release profile-based scores. I think they've just been released. So in that, the college is in a way willing to overlook your scores to an extent if you provide an extremely good work ex and a relevant profile as compared to your past experience as well. So those are a couple of things, few things that distinguishes SP Jain from other B schools. Hello.
Hello. Akshay, you can talk about little. Like I talked about investment banking. Okay, so what kind of, companies come, and what sectors they come?
So I'll tell you the little bit about the placement process. The advantage you have in a placement process in SP Jain as compared to other B schools is we do not have a summer internships as compared to other B schools. So during that period of time, we have an NGO internship. It's like a social CSR, which is it's a hot topic these days. We have our autumn internships. The corporate internships happen in August and September. Now, the big advantage of that is by that time you are almost through with your 3 semesters of MBA, and you are very well prepared for the corporate world. So by the time you go into your corporate internships and you're out of it, you have a far greater chance of converting that into a pre-placement offer from the companies. That is one advantage. Second advantage is because the specialization, each specialization on an average has only about 60 odd students. So a company, for example, say a Citibank or a Goldman Sachs is coming to the campus for an investment banking profile. It will look only at those 60 eligible candidates who are in the finance specializations, as against any other B school where you have the option of, say about 200 people applying for the same kind of a job profile. That does not happen. So you compete with a much less amount of students for the same post as against any other B school. So that's an added advantage when it comes to placements. Hello?
Yeah. Okay, Akshay.
Yeah.
It was very nice to think that, it is on par with IIMs on most of the occasions and many places better. Now, the fact why we are here, there are 2 of us, and the reason why we are here is to SP Jain selection process, second stage, 2014.
Yes, sir.
Now, frankly, I'll talk to you about your form. The SP Jain form is a wonderful tool. There, they'd like to check you in all details, how you think. So I'm just going to write, what they think about. First, you think. Second is your value system. Third, ethics. Persona, which has to be on decisions, adventurous, risk averse, leadership. So these are the factors on which your form is gauged.
Precisely, yes.
And frankly, the way you have filled it, because every kind of persona is perfect, it's just that what you speak during interview and what you have written, do those 2 things corroborate? And that is the whole thing. So about form, something Akshay can talk about?
So I'll tell you, see, SP Jain has one of the most elaborate forms that I remember filling last year. And the fact is, what advice I got from my seniors, I'll give you the same amount of advice. They test you on how you think, on how honest you are to your own self, not to the institute. So they'll give you situations and questions about what's the toughest challenge you have faced in life, whether personal or professional, or they'll give you probably an example scenario and ask you, based on your value system, how would you as a professional react to that? These are questions that nobody else can answer on your behalf. So I would suggest to all aspirants is that be very honest to yourself, think it through, because what will happen is when you go to the interview stage, you'll have to justify all these claims that you make in the form. Whether when it comes to ethics or your personality or the way you think or the kind of specialization you have chosen, the decisions that you've taken in different scenarios in your job, have you, handled difficult situations and whether there was a risk and you had to take a decision in the absence of your seniors? Sorry, is there a question?
No, continue. What are the questions will be come in the written form? Like one will come about the IM specialization, and one question is there, personal experience if questioned about value system.
Yeah. So yeah, these are the things that they will test you first in the psychometric test as well. You will have like about a 15-minute psychometric, 10 or 15-minute psychometric test in which you will have about 30 odd questions. Now, to answer 30 questions in about 10 minutes of time, all you can do is be extremely instinctive and honest. So they will give you questions like how comfortable you are dealing with the XYZ situations, or put in a challenge, how do you react? So these are also the kind of questions which you, as not just right now, but as MBA students, will also be part of your organizational behavior theory. It's the way you behave. On that basis, and that's an important part of it. And then when it comes to the interviews, they'll judge you on your answers, and how they'll also try, like sir said, they'll try to match on the basis of what you have written and what you're speaking. Are they the same person, basically? So that's how the form goes, basically, and your interests, and how they also lay a lot of emphasis on diversity of profile, basically. So I would give you my example. I'm an architect. I'm not an engineer. In my batch, I have batchmates who are CAs and from economic backgrounds, and I even have a doctor who's my batchmate, and a dental surgeon. So those kind of things are also given a lot of weightage too.
Akshay, there is one question. Somebody says, how many freshers are there in your batch?
How many?
Freshers who have got no work experience.
So the deal is there's a good balance of both. As compared to the previous batch, as in my immediate seniors, the average age of my batch is slightly higher. So this year they've taken people with a good amount of work experience. So average work ex, I would say, of the batch would be about, say, 18 to 24 months.
How many freshers will be there? The percentage?
Freshers, percentage, I would say, I'm not sure exactly about the numbers, but there would be at least about 20 to 30% freshers at least. I'm not sure, but I'll confirm you on that.
So roughly 30. So
Yeah.
coming,
I'll tell you an encouraging thing about it. Like, for example, the operations specializations. Now the operations specialization is known to have people with a good amount of work ex, 3 years and above, 3 to 4 years. So there are a lot of people from power sector and everything. Having said that, there are still 2 freshers in the operations profile they have taken this year, and they're really good. So you can imagine, when it comes to marketing and finance and other profiles, there are a lot of people who have come from SRCC and LSR who just gave their final year exams and joined SP Jain. So there's a good balance. It's not that freshers are not preferred.
Okay, somebody has asked me, Pramosh Kamath, what I had written on point 1, think. So basically your thinking capability, and point 4 was personality. So personality, I had talked about other things like leadership, risk averse, decision taken, challenges. So that was what I had written pen. Pramod, is it clear to you? And Manath, I hope your question is also being answered. Okay. The first thing is the test, psychometric, what Akshay had talked about. Now, the fact is, here you can see what example we have given on the slide. I feel very comfortable talking to strangers. This is all about personality. So, the fact is, completely agree, somewhat disagree, completely disagree. So, the kind of challenges you have taken, what is in the achievement. If you have written completely agree, then you should have taken some initiative where the social interaction had to take place. So this is what they check on the psychometric test. What kind of person you emerge out of your psychometric? There's nothing correct or right, wrong answer. They want to know you. Are you honest to yourself and you try to project the personality which you are, or are you fake? This is what they check. There should be a kind of matching. They want all kind of people. Some people should be risk averse, some should be risk prone, some people should be decisive, some people should be very analytical, and then they take decision. It's all makes the kind. Then only a proper company can work. Okay. Aditi Dalmia has asked Akshay, okay, how should one go about writing the profile sheet, especially the 5 qualities that are unique for what kind of qualities should you highlight? Aditi, first of all, I'm giving you an answer. The 5 qualities unique for you is simply for which you can justify your claim. If you are saying that decision, I'm decisive, then you should highlight 1 or 2 situations where you took decision. If you are analytical, did you think on certain points, and you can justify a claim that you are analytical. If you like interpersonal skills, if you have, then that's about it. You don't have to be very big that I am a person this. Whatever it is, I'm a friendly person. Even that is a uniqueness about you. Akshay, continue on this point.
So I would just like to add to that when you write your strengths and characteristics, please think them through. I would suggest avoid writing generic things like I am very bold and I am extremely amicable and friendly. Like Sir said, write that if you're good in interpersonal skills, write about that. If you have excellent communication skills, write about that. If you have good analytical skills, write about that. But whatever you write, make sure you have instances from your academic or professional experience to back it up, because that's what will come to your rescue in the interview. And write characteristics that have some depth. That's my 2 ounce of addition to that.
One question has come. What kind of questions can come regarding ethical dilemma can freshers give, because they have not worked? So what can they talk about ethical dilemma? People with work experience do have situations.
So I'll give you my personal experience. This question came to me in group interview 1. I had applied for a marketing profile. That's what I'm doing over here. So the professor asked me, do you think is marketing ethical? And everybody in my group gave a yes, no, different kind of examples. And then he gave us a situation. He said, okay, is cigarette selling ethical? So I'll tell you my answer to that. So my answer to that was yes, as long as cigarette selling is ethical, as long as I'm selling a cigarette with a statutory warning saying it is harmful to your health. If I'm selling a cigarette saying please smoke, it's going to have so and so health benefits and everything, then that is unethical because I'm selling something on the wrong pretext. For ethical dilemma, I would say yes, a little bit of work experience helps because you have dealt with situations in life. But even if you are a fresher, I think it has got a lot to do with common sense. You, I'm guessing if you're a fresher, you'll at least be like 21 or 22, 20 years old at least. So you can make a sense of what is right and what is wrong. And you'll be able to solve that ethical dilemma, won't you?
Okay, perfect answer Akshay has given. I just like to highlight what ethics are. Ethics are not morality. Ethics are what one professes. So if you say you are going to be part of this decision, you will be always part of that decision. So then that is ethical. Okay.
And just to add to that, you have a stance and you stick to it. You don't fluctuate it depending on the situation. You don't say X in one situation and Y in another situation. So that's ethical.
Yeah. In fact, they say that thieves have ethics because they believe in certain things. They act according to that, which they have professed. So Sabrani, ethical was both professional, personal friend. So it's always there. Okay. There's a question asking what my formative years. What can be right in it? Mansi, first of all, I like to talk about from this. Formative years, maximum things you get from your family. Second is from the kind of institutions you have gone to. Because the institutions, a vernacular background, I will not expect quite a lot from him because the reading skill, another thing, he may not get it. And if he has stayed in a smaller city. But the fact is, if you're from metro and your father is a qualified executive, probably the kind of expectation I have is different. Okay, so that is what is formative years. Akshay, there is a question from, I'll just highlight, a long question has come. Kinshuk girl, I'm little confused. What will affect my past academic? Because my percentage are very average, 70 to 74, 10, 12, BTech 70%, but, and college is not reputed. I don't work in Volta, so whether it will be difficult for me in interview. Kinshuk, I've just answered, if you do not have the kind of formative years background, look, you have stayed in a small city, then we do not expect you to be that competitive because, and still you have come this far that you got the job in Voltage, you have done well that we have given you call. So I respect you. Anything to add to this, Akshay? Many people will be of this background in your college who do not have that kind of high profile.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to give you an example of my friend. He is an engineer. He's done his engineering from JP Solon. So, which is again not a very, tier one, not in the league of IITs and NITs. I have people from Amity in my college. So, and in fact, in both my group interviews, 1 and 2, nobody asked me my 10, 12 percentage or my graduation percentage or anything of that sort. So all those things, facts and figures are already there in front of them. If they had to judge you purely on the basis of that, they would have not called you for the interviews. If you have gotten a call and if you're like Sir said, if you've reached so far, they want to know you as a person, both personally and professionally. So the kind of image you project in the interview is ultimately what makes or breaks it for you.
So now I'll come to one question of Shivani. I'm an introvert, so if I try to do that, I will get caught. Why should you hide it? You're a girl. It's better to remain an introvert because you express your feelings too much. Probably people may take it otherwise. So introvert can be very good where the big corporates are there and where you need to stick to your work. Why should you? It's not a bad quality. Please, whatever you are, you should stay that way.
Absolutely, yeah. And I have a lot of friends in my batch who are shy and introvert and don't speak to a lot of people. It's perfectly all right. Just project who you are. I mean, in its utmost honesty. Don't try to project an image that you are not. Then that won't work for you.
Okay. So Shah's question is that do you need to submit all the proof of all the accomplishment at any time, Akshay?
No. So what will happen is after your psychometric test, they'll collect your papers, the xeroxes and everything, and they'll ask you to pick, at least they had asked us in our time, they'll ask you to pick your 5 top achievements when it comes to academic and extracurricular. So that you have to, so I had like a whole bunch of certificates, but all that they're not interested in. They can't go through so many certificates for each candidate. They'll probably ask you to pick top 5 of yours.
Should we, you asked the question, what sort of answer expected if you have asked why you want to do finance? So the basic premise you got to take, somehow whenever I read economic times and if I go through CNBC, things enthuse me. Whatever happens in the field of corporate world regarding mergers, acquisitions, and the stock exchange, I do get animated and I do read something about it. And I do feel that I've got a sense of numbers. I can do work on computers, do number crunching, and that's why I want to pursue finance. That's a decent enough answer. Okay? Then Aditi, now I will come to the group interview because now many questions are coming to interview. So after that, SP Jain conducts 2 rounds of group interviews. You can see in PPT. There are 3 to 4 members in the panel for first interview and 2 to 3 members in the second panel. The number of students in each panel varies from 5 to 8. And each group interview lasted for around 45 minutes. So roughly, if you can see, 5 to 8, so that means 45 minutes, so 7 to 8 minutes answer. That is your time share. And frankly, the question which we know, most of the questions asked were general in nature. So they can be about from economics, they can be from sports, they can be asked related to current affairs and challenge, ethics, and all these things. In some students were asked few profile-based questions. Most were pleasant, but sometimes you can be asked something what other has answered. But those again are rarity. Okay. And many people were eliminated after the first group interview. So Akshay, I'd like you to elaborate how the first round of interview takes place. And you can talk about from your encounters.
Yeah, sure. So I'll tell you about my group interview 1. We had 2 panelists and we were 5 of us. Coincidentally, all 5 of us had applied for a marketing profile, but that's not necessary. You can have 5 people for different profiles as well in the first round. The questions that they ask can be extremely generic in nature, and the question will circulate amongst the group. So each one will get an opportunity to answer that. My sincere advice to all the students is you will get ample time and you will get your chance to speak. Do not interject when someone else is speaking. If you have a point of view which is diametrically opposite to what your someone else is speaking, say that when your chance comes. You can give your point of view and your opinion on it. They will ask you to justify your choice of specialization. Okay, sorry. Before that, I would just like to mention a minor difference between last year's process and this year's process is the fact that we were asked to fill only one specialization choice last year. This year's form, I believe you guys had an option of filling two specialization choices. But having said that, you will still be called for only one choice, which the admissions committee thinks is best suited to your profile. So that's the clarification there. So in the first round of interview also, they will ask you, say, why marketing or why finance or why MBA also for that matter. And they might ask you some generic questions. Like in our case, the question was, is marketing ethical and stuff like that. They'll ask you about your background. And if they find something interesting in your background, they'll probably ask you to elaborate a little more on that. So my background was that of a design and architecture. There was another girl in my group interview one who's also my batchmate here. She had played hockey at a state level for the Dehradun. So that was few interesting facts. The best part is, my best advice to all of you is that it is in your hands how you drive your interview. So you drive your interview according to your strengths. I mean, if you have played cricket or hockey or whatever, if you like reading or something, you sure can talk about it at length, can you? So drive your interview in that direction. And yes, after group interview one, depends. So in our group, there were five of us, and only one person was eliminated. And there were other groups in which there were 6 to 7 people, and only 2 were taken, or 1 was taken. So it really depends on it. There is no rule of averages that so many from each group would be taken. But yeah, some are eliminated, some proceed to the next round. Should I talk about group interview too right now only, or you want to?
Akshay, people have asked what kind of questions on current affairs have been generally asked in the first group interview?
Current affairs has I would say keep reading Economic Times. Like in our time, I don't remember any current affairs questions being asked, but there were other groups to which questions were asked and their opinions. So if somebody said, I'm interested in politics and like reading newspapers or something, then they would go on to asking you something, your political opinion on the. So probably now I think since Aam Aadmi Party is the hot topic since they've joined the power and everything, you might get questions from there. You might get questions from some big merger or acquisition that might have happened. Like for example, UTV Movies acquired Walt Disney last year. Things like that. So generic. You cannot really predict what questions will come, but just keep yourself up to date with the newspaper. Make sure you read newspaper every day.
So one person had asked that somehow he could not fill the slot, as all slots got filled up. So what did he do?
All slots got for the interview?
Yeah.
Okay. So drop in an email to the admissions committee. And if you're shortlisted, I mean, definitely they'll make a provision for you.
Shivani,
otherwise,
your question is answered. I don't think so. GD takes place anywhere.
No, there's no group discussion. There's no group
discussion. So Shrey, okay. So Surbhi, your question has to be answered. Okay. Now people are asking, like many people have gone for profile change. Like you have gone from architect to marketing. Some people like to go from sales to finance. So how do people justify these kind of changes?
See, okay, yeah, I was grilled also a lot on not grilled exactly, but they really were keen to know why I want to do marketing after architecture and everything. So my justification for that fact is that throughout my professional life, what I've been doing is selling people ideas. Sitting on this side of the table, sketching something, and then compelling someone else on the other side to invest a lot of money on my designs and drawings. So if I can do that, I can bloody well sell, I think, probably anything under the sun. So hence marketing. And I was able to justify because I said marketing out of the 4 specializations that were there, marketing is probably the only one that will allow me to retain some of my creative instincts that I have gained over a period of years. So that's how I justify it. But for a switch off profile, you'll have to justify 2 things. A, why do you want to switch? What is it about what you're doing does not work for you? And second, what is it that you expect and aspire from the future role that you have applied for? And how do you think it will pan out for you? So these are the 2 things that they'll ask you.
Okay, Hershey, you had a question. There's a question, do you want to opt out of campus placement? What does this mean? This simply means that you have a family business, so you would like to go back to it, or your company, you have already made a provision that you will come back to the same company on a higher position or on a different profile. So that is how you need to answer. Then Shashank has asked a question, Akshay. Does a high percentile plays one's chance of converting the call, or they do it on based purely on interview?
Percentile plays some role, but very minimal. Where I had a very high, I didn't get a profile-based call. I had a score-based call for starters. My percentile was very high. I got like a CAT percentile of 99.32. But again, there are people in my batch who've got a CAT percentile of as low as say 91 point something, 92 point something. So the range is quite huge. So it's not that score is a very stringent criteria. If you're good, if your profile is good, if they like you in the interview, they'll take you, irrespective.
So now, Mansa, you have talked about you do not have certificate for your hobbies. It does not matter. You can always talk about that being very comfortable with acad. This was my priority. So out of my passion, I used to play. Somehow I never participated in competitive environment. And if you have knowledge about your hobby, you can manage such things. Okay. Score-based call, Akshay, they said what kind of profile it is needed to get the score-based call. I'm sure any kind of a profile is, if you've got 99 percentile, they always give you the call, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you have applied.
Yeah, that is true. Yes, that is true.
Fine enough?
Yeah.
Okay. Then how much on your field of study? Technical question in round 1. Do they ask?
Not in round 1, but I think, again, operations profile, they will ask you technical questions based on your work ex and your academic knowledge. There is not so much in marketing. Marketing, I don't think your past academic knowledge matters so much, but yes, finance and operations. To an extent, information management also when it comes to, few of you, I believe, would be IT engineers and computer software engineers. So you've worked on data and analytics and those bits of it. If you have, and if you have applied for IM as a profile, then they might ask you those kind of questions. Operations, definitely, a lot of technical knowledge is required. And to an extent in finance and IM, not so much in marketing, I would say.
Then again a question, are there people who do not have very good hobbies, or not done anything extra, but they've got good academics?
Yeah, drive that. It's your strength at the end of the day. It's okay if you do not have 10 different hobbies. If you have one, drive your interview on that. You can say you, as a student, you were always focused on your academics, and hence your grades reflect that. Probably. That's the strength.
Yeah,
you don't have to feel shy or belittled about the fact that I don't have a hobby. You don't have. You can't do anything about it. But then be proud of the fact that you were good at academics.
Okay. Tushar has asked that information management profile, what justifying information management? Then the fact is you got to be knowing languages. You got to be worked in computers. You must have done some work, which is of notable virtue. Then you can go for information management. You must have know Oracle and other these, DBMS, RDMS. You got to be handling this. Then only you should be going for information management profile. So somebody is also, what is information management? What is the kind of scope? Can you guide some people about it?
I have little knowledge in the domain, but I would tell you from some of my friends who are there in information management in the back. So most of my friends come from a profile they work for Oracle or SAP or cloud computing, and so extremely technical stuff these guys have worked for, or probably a coding profile in a TCS or HCL or Wipro, these kind of things. But yeah, these are the so their aim of doing an MBA is to get out of that technical role or an analyst role and take a jump to more managerial roles in probably similar organizations or in better organizations like say Google or Microsoft or others.
Okay. Now it's a good question. Is appearing in slot 1 with profile-based calls. The interview process is, if you appear in slot 1 with profile-based calls and later you appear with academic-based calls, is the focus of panel different or is it same?
I don't know if they will give you a score-based call if they've already given you a profile-based call. I'm not too sure about that. I don't think they will. But I can check with the admissions committee and let you know on that. They'll only give you one call, either profile or score.
Lovina, you have asked about how CA is connected to MBA. So you always got to talk about like this. So CA provides the nerve center how to run a business. But it is not the business. Business requires HR, which requires marketing skills. And the fact is that's where the MBA steps in. The decision making and other aspects which are integral to the business, that I'm going to learn from this. So if I wish to occupy the top slot where I'm going to control the business, I think, and management is a lovely aid to CA. I think, Lovina, your answer has been?
I'll add to that, sir, on an encouraging note to the lady. I have, in fact, 15 people in my batch who are CAs. In fact, there are few among them who have also done CFA level 1, 2, and level 3 as well. So they come with a very solid finance foundation, and that's the best way you can justify. The way you summarize it, it's perfect, I think. So CAs, I mean, they have a really good chance of making it to finance if they're applying.
Okay, Mannat, about finance, technical question, you got to be knowing the budget. Right now, you do not know the budget, but whatever is happening, the monetary policy which the RBI takes in general terms, if you want to go for finance, you got to be aware of. You cannot escape that I have not read then finance, so I should not be doing anything. Understood the point? So being a mathematics graduate, if you want to go for finance, something other, you have to justify your interest. So same, Marut has asked, what kind of question we expect in international relating to finance, since I don't have any experience on the same. I think current economic times, that's all will do.
Yeah, that will be good. That will be good. I mean, they'll ask you questions on, say, there was a change in the RBI's governor recently. So what are the policies of the previous governor? How is Raghuram's policies different? You read economic times, you'll be good with it. They don't test you how much in depth you know the subject. If you already know it in such depth, what will they teach you in the first place? They only want to know how aware you are or how interested. See, if you go out there and say, I'm interested in finance, they would want to test you how interested you are. In case you're interested, you should know all these things that sir just mentioned. So you have to just justify that.
Okay. Sabrani and others have asked, why MBA? This is a question which really takes time. Frankly, Sabrani and Harshit, first of all, you got to take self-analysis. What are the qualities which you have? On the basis of the qualities, you got to have a career plan, what you wish to do. MBA should be able to bridge the gap, how it is going to help you to achieve your career plan. The skills which you lack to execute your career plan, those skills you are going to pick up in MBA, and that's why you have to go for MBA. And frankly, with your skills, whatever you have, the qualities which you have, and then the career plan, MBA has to be the bridge. And that is how you should talk about why MBA. Akshay, anything to add to what I've said? Why MBA?
Yes, yeah. And please don't say, hey, for a jump in your salary or the fiscal incentives associated with it. That's the most cliched answer. And you'll be nailed on that. Definitely, it's the classic question you will be asked in all interviews across, not just SP Jain. And like sir very perfectly mentioned, try and reflect on how MBA will be able to help you bridge the gap from where you are right now professionally and where you see yourself, 5 years down the line probably. What are the different corporate roles that you would like to see yourself in a more managerial? What will MBA add to your armature, in that way? So try and think in those terms. I know it sounds very cliche and a lot of gas, but that's the truth. You'll have to justify it that way. Hello?
Lovina, again the CA question. I've done MBA with finance. Yes, you're going to have the core competence in finance, but the fact is, along with MBA finance, you're also going to study other subjects too. So ultimately, your persona, your exposure, your reflexes, all will be changed. So it does not matter that in spite of being CA, you're doing MBA with finance.
In fact, that's an added advantage. I see it as an added advantage. I learned so much from my CA friends. I would have flunked all my finance subjects in first year had it not been for that.
That's for all of us. In fact, even we reflect on earlier years. CAs were the best thing to happen.
Exactly. And they really know a lot. They really know a lot.
Yeah. That's a detailed. MBA is breadth. CA is depth.
Exactly. Well said, sir. Very aptly said.
Okay.
I think there are some questions which are coming about how the year first and second year is panned out and the subjects and everything. So I would just take a minute to. So your first year across all specializations is the same. Everybody, everybody has the same subject. It's only the third semester which is specialization specific. So in the semester that I'm going to take up starting in April onwards will be a marketing semester for me, and likewise for other specializations. And the fourth semester is mostly consists of electives again, which you can pick from your specialization basically. So first year is common. First year you have all the subjects. You will learn about marketing, operations, finance, basics of everything.
Okay, Priyam, Akshay has said that if the slots are full, write and mail to admission committee, provided they will create another slot for you.
Have you missed the deadline? Have you missed the deadline of filling the slot?
23rd to 25th, they are saying the slots for profile based are already full. So
okay.
The deadline is 13th January. So
deadline is okay. So you have to pick another slot in case if it is full. Or drop in a mail. I'll speak to him. I have a lot of friends in admission committee. I'll check with someone.
Okay. So Priyam, you heard Akshay is there, and you can always get through us. You can reach him, and he'll help you out. Okay. Then we come to the second round, which is the difficult round. I would like to put it. What do you do in the second round of interview? How is it different from the first round?
So I'll tell you the second. Yeah. So second round of interviews, you will probably have a lot more senior faculties from your specialization taking your interview. So in my case, I had the head of the Department of Marketing taking my interview. The interviews are of a more serious nature. The questions are a lot more to do justifying why marketing or why whatever specialization that you have taken and opted for. Besides that, also, there can be a few generic questions. So, for example, there were some questions on. So, I had an interest in reading philosophy a little bit. I'm a huge fan of Ayn Rand, and I've read a lot about her. So, there were questions on that, and they will ask you for your take on different questions vis-a-vis your other interviewees who are there in your group. So yeah, it's a more intensive round, I would say, and they can cut you in between. In that GI1 probably nobody will interject, nobody will cut you in between. But if they realize in group interview 2 that whatever you're talking is not making sense, they'll probably ask you to just stop and ask the other guy to speak. So it has to be more thoughtful. Your answers have to be more thoughtful, more meticulous, and more organized. Be very structured in whatever you say.
Okay, so what I get from Akshay, that will be more individual based, not the general based questions, more pertinent to you. Your analytical skills are checked, and earlier they're only looking for communication and your expression because they're not interjecting, they're making an overall opinion. Now they're trying to affirm their viewpoint, what kind of person you are. That's why they like to interject. Rather than they affirm their thought process.
And they will grill you on your justification of the specialization. For example, if I had taken marketing, they went to a great extent on asking me why marketing, what kind of companies do I aspire to join post my MBA in marketing, what roles do I see, and how will marketing benefit me given my background as an architect and everything. So yeah, so be prepared for those kind of questions.
So Aditi, you have got the unique question for marketing interview. So we have dealt with you. We already dealt with Harsh. Finance, will I be taught only finance? No, first year every subject is taught, and the second subject year the issues take place. However, Akshay, there is an issue. Somebody has written that they had contacted admission department and was told to wait a call later in February along with score-based calls. Then what do they do?
So that would be in case they have not got a profile-based call, I'm guessing. That's why the admissions department would have asked them to wait for February for the score-based calls to be released. Is that so?
But he has got a profile-based call because right now the scores have not come for CAT.
So he has already gotten a profile-based call.
But the slots are full. So he has been told that we will interview you later along with score-based calls.
That can happen because last year in my interview slots also there were people who had profile-based calls. So there is a first round of profile-based interviews which happens only in Bombay, not in other cities. And then subsequently when the score-based interviews are held in multiple cities, at that time whichever doesn't get a slot is adjusted, accommodated.
So nothing to worry. Even if the interviews in February, you can all manage it. That will not be a problem. Okay.
But my suggestion would be, please do drop in an email and get this thing from them invited. Don't depend on a verbal telephonic conversation that you have.
Okay. Somebody has asked, I have experience in manufacturing. Rohit, what should be the answer for why operation? Oh, it is a natural precursor for manufacturing, where you do the spurt, CPM, optimization. From all these, the operation is just an extension for the final product. Okay, it's a assimilation and amalgamation of all these processes for the final objective of the organization. And that's why operation is the key element. Rohit is a natural precursor. So,
and you can add to that post your MBA in operations, you look forward to roles like supply chain, logistics, and project management, those kind of roles, which makes perfect sense after your experience in manufacturing.
Priyam, right now Akshay talked about some marketing specific questions like which company you like to join, how marketing is going to benefit you, how what you perceive that you're going to do marketing for. So all these questions he has just discussed. Manasa, I have not heard anybody getting both profile-based call and score-based call. They take care of that. Am I correct, Akshay?
Yeah, neither have I.
So I have not seen anybody.
They'll only do one call.
Minimum percentile needed. I've seen people getting even at a profile-based call even at 85 percentile.
There is no minimum. There is no such minimum percentile.
Okay, Harsh has asked you a question. Could you please elaborate how being based in Mumbai a huge bonus for SPM HMR?
See, based in Mumbai, it's located in Andheri. Like I said, so your networking happens a lot. Like for example, right now also, so there is an annual event that happens in SP Jain. There are business academia conclaves that are right now going on. They happen across 6 verticals. So you have marketing, finance, operations, information management, HR, and consulting. These are the 6 conclaves that happen. And in that, there are speakers. They are like huge seminars, and you have speakers who are like CEOs of huge companies. So we had someone like Vineet Nair coming yesterday from HCL for an HR. We had CEOs of partners from Deloitte and McKinsey and Microsoft and those kind of companies. So that networking helps, definitely, being in Bombay. Also, a lot of companies who are looking for Gen Man and marketing kind of roles, they probably would not like to travel to a very distant place and rather come to next door to SP Jain. Unless and until it is something like, say, an XLRI Jamshedpur, which is the mecca for HR. So they will definitely make it a point to go to Jamshedpur for HR. That way. Have I answered your question?
Yeah, I think so. You've done it perfectly well. Now everybody has been asking what should they answer. So I'd like to say, you go through our program called PAR PDP, Comprehensive Online PDP. You will get all the answers. People will train you. You will go through personality sessions. Because right now we are here to talk more about the SP Jain rather than your individual questions. Individual questions can, in generic way it can be handled, but everybody is coming with individual answers. So I'll say that go and join a Power PDP and you can manage through there. And if you get an AM call, join the boot camp where I will be there, will be so many of us will be there, and we can handle. Because this is turning out to be more of an interview session than if we start answering everyone's personal questions. Agreed? We can help you. We have just tried to help you. But everyone's answers will do it. Then that is what we do in PAR PDP. Okay. Anyone has a different question, they can answer. They can ask us. Till the time, minimum cutoff, I have seen people getting called at 97 percentile from the score-based calls also. Akshay, what is your take on that?
Yeah, there is no such minimum cutoff below which you will not get it.
Even in score-based calls, generally.
Even in score-based, I haven't heard of a minimum cutoff that way. There is no such criteria. Cutoff. Yeah. They look at your profile, they look at your entire form sheet and everything, and that's how they will evaluate you.
Okay. We have said that I told you about the profile-based 85. Okay. But it is that is for profile-based, but not for the other thing, the score-based calls. Okay, Achha, then Aditi, we had talked about everybody. Please understand, 85 percentile was for the profile-based, not for score-based call. Somebody is asking you the kind of group and societies you have in SP Jain. You can speak about that.
Oh yeah, so that way there are a lot of groups and societies and a lot of other programs as well that happen. So I am a part of, I'm in the creative head for the annual College Cultural and Management Fest, that's OJIS. There is a sports committee that happens, so there's an annual sports fest also that happens. Then also there is a theatre society also which comes up with an annual production every year. I'm a part of that also. Besides that, there are competitions. So we have an ADMAP program, which is called the administration-based program. So there are different committees within the college. It's a credited course. So you have industry integration, you have consulting committee, you have you will have operations, those kind of committees in which you will be given roles which are very application-based, which are not theoretical-based. And besides that, there are a lot of inter-school, business school competitions. There are a lot of corporate competitions which you can take part in, which are very good, which you must take part in. And these are the kind of activities that happen, like non-academic activities.
Okay, somebody has asked, if 10 minutes we are not able to complete the psychometric test, probably they'll give you 1 minute more, but not more than that. And you should be able to finish it in 10 minutes.
No, they'll take away the paper. That's the whole essence of a psychometric test, that you write what comes to your mind first. You should not think over those questions. It's your instinct. That's what they're trying to test. What kind of a person you are, most naturally.
Yeah, Shivani, if you don't get 85% that, probably they will cancel your call. Because they've written that 85%. They'll not cancel your call. They probably they will not select you.
Yeah.
Okay. Mansa, we had written about psychometric, always, rarely, sometimes. Those kind of 4 choices are there. Multiple choice test. Okay, I think the questions are getting over, and most of the questions I think we have dealt with, actually. Whatever
Yes,
comes
sir. I think so. And anyways, I mean, if you can contact me through my email and everything, in case they want to. If there are any questions that are left unanswered.
Just spell your email so I can write.
I'll give you my official email ID. Should I type it on here?
You will not be able to type it. You will speak, so I'll write it here.
It's PGP13.
PGP30.
13.
It should be all small.
PGP 13.
13.
Sorry,
PGP
not 31.
13. Dot.
Akshay K. AKSHAY K.
AKSHAY.
K.
K.
Akshay K. At the rate spjmr.org.
SP small or big?
All small.
SP Jain. So my dear friends, .org.
Yeah.
.org. So this is the email ID of Akshay. If anything, personal thing you want to contact, okay, and this is how you should be going about it. And somebody has asked me what kind of questions are in operation management. Your organization will be asked wherever you work. The basic operation processes, which kind of career you like to go for in operation management, supply chain, project management, turnkey projects, greenfield projects. So all that can be asked. Whatever you like to project, whatever you like to drive. Pramod has asked Akshay, how many people who are studying with you, what is the ratio of profile-based and score-based?
I have no idea about that, to be very honest. Last year's admission committee would have a clear idea, but I don't know how many had a profile-based or a score-based score.
But somebody is asking about the average package.
Sorry, I can't disclose that. My platform will kill me.
Okay. Sagar, IT background, what sort of question can be asked? I am fresher. Generally the freshers, it is personal questions and why MBA, what kind of company you like to join later.
You can also, if it's an IM-based thing and you're a fresher, you can. So in schools also, like I had a lot of friends who were extremely fanatic when it came to C++ and languages and coding and everything. If you're a fresher and if you don't have a work experience, you can justify your passion for IT and coding and data analytics and all the relevant things that are there. So I have a batchmate who is from, like, say, BITS Pilani, and he designed the website for BITS Pilani. So that was his selling point, USP, when it came to the interviews. He's an IM profile, basically.
Okay. Kumar, if you have to take a stand, it's best to go with your own ethical side. Understood the point? Here's the question: will I go with the business side or ethical side? It's always with your own ethics. You should go with your own ethics.
Yeah. Any day.
I think Akshay, we can close it because I think most of the questions we have done and new questions are also not coming, and we have, I think, covered everything. You'd like to summarize and give any best wishes to them?
I would just like to wish all of you all the very best. Please go with a very relaxed mind. It's one of the smoothest interview processes that you would happen. There are no stress interviews. At least there were none in my time. In fact, the whole interview process is driven only to know you as a person. Okay, so do very well, and I really hope to see some of you next year as my juniors.
And obviously, there's no ragging in SP Jain.
No, there's no ragging in SP Jain. It's a very cordial relations between females and males. That's what I would say.
Now, okay, now as a trainer for last 17 years, I can tell you my students at SP Jain have done fantastically well. In fact, the soft skills of my IM students are not as great as SP Jain students. So take this as seriously. Don't take it as that it is going to be a practice for IM. You get it? I can assure you, it is a better college than many of the IM. And if you ask Akshay, there will be many people who may have converted some allied IM calls, but lower IMs, what we call it. But still, they may have joined at SP Jain.
So I'll share my one personal experience with you, sir. The fact is, I had the only two better calls I had better than SP Jain were XLRI and FMS, both of which I unfortunately couldn't convert. But besides that, I had MDI and I had all the new IMs which were converted. And thankfully, I wrote an email to Gautam Puri, sir, because I was still a student at CL at that time. And it was on his suggestion that I chose SP Jain over the other calls that I had. So I have to thank Gautam Puri, sir, also. So yeah.
Well, you realize that I'm also of the same view. We go less than lower. I'll always put it. Go to SP Jain, And so, my dear friend, we like to say goodbye. Have a great Saturday. Just work on yourself. And thank you, Akshay. Thank you very much for sparing your time. I think we had a great time together. So hope to see you sometime and hope to see you guys in SP Jain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. All the best, guys.